Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Sharapan.
Are we waiting for anybody?
Yes, they're ready to join.
Okay. To come to Bacala.
Sharupan, let's start. They will join in a minute. Meanwhile, we can start. Sharpan, we can start the call.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Uno momento. Let's start. Is the call being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have to record it. All right. Let me share my screen and let's pick off from wherever we left off. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. So in our last call, we discussed the third archetype, which is information and educational companies. This was a new archetype, which was different, which is in addition to service-based companies, which we've already covered. I don't know where that is, but service-based companies, which we already covered, and then we also covered e-commerce and software companies, and now we've covered info companies, and now we will be doing the last archetype, which is a company that's pre-product. Okay. Now the pre-product company is, let me start with the definition. The definition is so basically by default, they're not a service company and they're not an info company. Because if they were a service or info company, there's no concept of pre-service. So let's say you want to be an accountant, you're never in a stage where you're like, I'm a pre-accountant waiting to provide a service, or I'm a pre-marketing agency, pre-product or pre-service marketing agency waiting to be a marketing agency. Because the good part about being a service company is you just start. Like today, all of us can start a marketing agency, all of us can start some type of tax preparation service, all of us can start anything that's related to services. And same thing with info. There's no concept really of being like a pre-product information company, because the only thing you need to be an info or educational company is yourself, the information that you want to convey. Maybe you need to shoot some courses, but that's about it. This is a unique proposition, this concept for a pre-product company. It only exists with companies that want to build software products or hardware products, but today we're going to lean more into software products. So their goal is to end up here. So we're going to be referring back to, the goal is to end up and be in this position where they're able to automate the sales process for their product through Garage. But the problem is they don't have their product yet. So let's say they do this process. When they get to the automated offer, and let's say 5 out of 10 people listen to the offer and say, I want to buy it, they actually don't have the product to give. So usually this is a tech company that has not finished developing their product. So all the Supernova people, all the IDS to MVP people, all of the people that are in Y Combinator, everybody I think it's like 95% of startups are actually just pre-product companies. And because it's so difficult to launch a product, that I think most of them just get stuck here forever. So we're going to show you how to pitch these people. So the fundamental difference, well, let's start with what's not different. There's still a business network, there's still an affiliate network, and there's still an invitation funnel, which is the same as literally all other 3 archetypes. So the difference happens in the next step. So let's start again now with the motivation. The problem here is, even if they execute Garage perfectly and their customers are ready to buy, they don't have the thing for them to buy. So what do pre-product companies look for? They're looking for investment. That's one thing. And they're looking for validation. Usually they're looking for validation because their prospective investor wants validation. So if let's say I'm trying to build, the next Swiggy, and I need to go raise 1 crore to build the next Swiggy. And so I'm asking my friend or the investor or whoever, can you give me this money? I'll give you equity in my company. And chances are what he's going to say is, how do you know that this is going to work? How can you prove that your idea is going to work? And how can you prove that you're going to get traction? It's going to be like the big word in today's startup world, which is how can you prove that you have traction? And that's actually a very dangerous question, because the response from the founder will be, I can't prove I have traction because I don't have enough money to build my product. And so he's stuck in a chicken and egg scenario. I mean, hundreds of thousands of founders are stuck in this chicken and egg scenario. The number is enormous, which is, I want to build a product. I don't have money to build my product, but everybody that wants to give me money is asking me for proof that my product will be used. Well, I can't prove that until I have my product. Well, this is where Garage changes that dynamic. It's not true. The investor's not changing his mind. He's going to continue with his stance. He's going to be like, prove to me that you have traction. But it is not true that you need your product to be able to prove that your product is worth something. So what you need to do is, first, I repeat it, you need to build your business network. You need to launch an office. Let's do an example today. Let's say I'm doing, the Swiggy one is so interesting because it has 3 different dynamics. Let's do the Swiggy one. So let's say I'm trying to build a Swiggy 2.0. That's my startup idea. That's the product. And my unique value proposition is that I'm going to charge no fees to the restaurant. Okay, like whereas Swiggy charges fees, I'm going to charge no fee. That's my idea. So I'm asking investor A, B, C, D, can you give me money so I can build this product? Fabulous. So they're going to be like, no, there's no chance. There's no validation for this. Why would you ever think that you can do this? It's preposterous. All the normal things that an investor would say, rightfully so. So what that person can do now is come and launch an office and start building a business network. This he doesn't need any money for. Well, he needs 6,000 rupees, but that's about it. He can come and say, okay, well, who are my 3, in the case of Swiggy, it's 3 different communities. You have the consumers, the people that are going to eat the food. You have the restaurants, the people that are serving the food. And you have the drivers, the people that are delivering the food. So you need to prove that there is a market value, that these 3 people want something that you're going to sell that Swiggy is not currently providing. So you can launch a business network and a specific community inside of Garage for these 3 different people. So here I have platform updates, all members and founders building affiliate programs. You would just create one for foodies, and then one for restaurant owners, and the other one for delivery drivers. And you would say, let's get as many of these people in here as possible. And you would have to give each of them a value proposition. Now, the great thing about pre-product companies is your value proposition is usually what you want to give for free. So it's something like, okay, are you a driver that's sick and tired of whatever Swiggy does wrong? Are you a restaurant owner that's sick and tired of paying 26% fees? Are you an end customer that's sick and tired of paying more when you buy online, because Swiggy's the restaurant is always passing the fees on to the customer? And you have this, your unique selling proposition is the reason people will join your business network, because you are hopefully inherently asking them about the problem that they currently have. So you get people to join. And now what you're basically doing is you're building a network of people in your office that think the problem you're trying to solve is valuable. If the journey just stops at this point right here, you're already way better off to get investment. Because you can go to an investor along with your pitch deck, along with your MVP, and say, I already have 500 people or 1,000 people or 50 people or 5 million people, depends on the type of business you run, who have basically validated that if there was a solution for this, they would be interested. And they validated by not just giving me their email, but they're in my community and they're expressing that validation. They're essentially, even before the product is ready, opting into the problem being solved. That's if you just stop here. But of course, we're not going to stop here. Next thing, what you're going to do is the same thing. Like, what do you do once you've built value in the business network here? You run an automated offer if it's a product company. If it is a service company, you run a manual offer. And if it's an educational company, you run an automated offer. I don't know where it's, you're an automated offer. But here, you can't run an offer because, God forbid, they want your stuff. You don't have it yet. So what you're going to offer them to do is a pitch. You're going to say, hey, can you join this webinar? Can you give me 30 minutes of your time? Or can you join this call? And I want to explain to you how I'm planning on solving this problem that you were passionate about to join this community for. So then you can give them your pitch deck. Or if you have an MVP, which everybody, in my kind of just a macro step here, I think you can combine Garage with like Lovable, and you have Lovable's going to charge you like, I don't know, $3,000, 3,000 rupees, or I don't know what the cost is, whatever, for your one MVP, and then we're charging you 6K a month, and this is all you need. Like less than 10,000 rupees is all you need to run this whole thing, because you can now go to Lovable once you have data that your problem is worth solving, and you can build an MVP in a day. And you can show what it would look like from a user experience, and you can essentially pitch this to your community and say, hey, I'm working on this app. We all care about the fact that the fees on the restaurant should be less. What do you think about it? You should give them a pitch for your app or your product. And now, instead of collecting a testimonial, you're able to get feedback. So what you do is now you give them the pitch on the MP, and they're going to give you all the feedback you need. They're going to be like, oh, this is interesting, but I would recommend you don't do this, or I would recommend you change this, or I would recommend you add this. And they're giving you free feedback on everything that you want to build before you waste the money to actually build it. And now you can take that feedback and run it back into your business network and show and explain, hey guys, this is what people are thinking. This is how people think I should build this product, or this is how people are thinking that I should change it. And more importantly, you take this feedback to your prospective product team one day that you may have. You could take it to your investor and say, I'm not just guessing on what this product should be. I have feedback from 30 people out of the 200 people that are interested in this. And if somebody's willing to give feedback, they're definitely ready to vouch for that the problem is important to solve. And so what you're really doing here, and of course, one of the great things here is at the end of, if you have your beta, so let's just say this is before an investor says yes. Now you've run this machine, and of course, the affiliate network can still kick in. You just don't have any commissions to pay, but you can tell them that you can still get people into the business network, and once there is commissions to pay, you get rewarded, so they can bring like-minded people into your business network. Now, let's say all of this is before you even approach an investor. When you approach an investor, you can go to them and say, I have 500 people that are interested that are a part of my archetype, meaning they're part of the people that would buy this product, and I have them ready. They're in my platform, and they have committed to that this problem is important to solve. I've pitched 40 of them, and then I got feedback from all 40 of them, and this is the feedback that they're saying, and this is the market research that they're providing me. And then 20 of them are ready to be affiliates because they've also invited their friends. Now, to the investor, you're eliminating his risk. You're minimizing the fact that when he gives you money, you're not just going to go figure this out. You already have all of the data points. And most importantly, you are reducing the execution risk for him. So now he gives you the money, maybe. Still, he may not. But he gives you the money if he does. And once he gives you the money, and let's say you do build the product, you already know exactly what product you should build. But more importantly, once your product is even halfway ready to go live, you can run a beta offer to your same community saying, hey, the product is going to go live in 90 days or 180 days or 30 days, whatever you feel is objectively good. And anyone that's in my community at this point gets it for free for 1 year or for 6 months. Please sign up here, put in your credit card information, whatever your product requires, click the things. If you need downloads for an app, there's no better way to get downloads than by building the biggest business network of people that share the concerns that you need. If you need signups which all investors want. There's no better place. You can just go back to these people and say, hey, my app is live. Please sign up here. If you need testimonials, reviews on Google, on Apple, there's no better ways to do it than because you've already incubated this network of people who care about the same problem. In my estimation, if you're running a startup in 2026 and you don't do this, you're basically walking in blind. I have no confidence in anyone who is building a product post Garage when we are giving it to you on a platter before gathering their network into one place of people that give the same credence to the problem that they're trying to resolve. And then this is the last brilliant part about this whole equation. Once you have like enough people in your business network, whatever you feel is enough. Like if you're trying to sell some complicated like nuclear technology, your business network will not be like 500 people. It might only be 20 people. That's fine. That's still fine. If you're trying to sell like a consumer product, like makeup or some shoes or something, it could be thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. The number doesn't matter. What matters is that the people in here agree with your proposition. Now, once this is a thriving ecosystem for you, meaning there are people in there, they're posting, they're talking, they're agreeing with you. Now, the next character that you bring into this funnel is add another community and you invite your investors or prospective investors. So when I was raising money for the first time, and I was like 19 years old, I met with a guy. It was an incredible story, and it's like so sad how it turned out. I met with a guy who's like legendary investor in the Valley and like invested in mad companies. And he said, wow, you're so talented. You're so young. He listened to my pitch. I mean, the pitch wasn't that good, but still, listen to me, like, you're so talented. I'm going to tell you to do something. If you do it, before the end of this year, you will have gotten all the money that you wanted. If you don't do it, and he said, I believe you're not going to do it, because he says nobody does it. Very few people do it. But he says it's going to cost you nothing, what I'm telling you. It's going to cost you almost no time. It's going to cost you no money. Almost very little time. All you need to do is be consistent with what I'm going to say. And whatever you're asking for by the end of this year, you'll have all that money you wanted. So he said, you're going and pitching investors, right? He asked me. I said, yeah, you're one of them. And I'm pitching, like, I try to make myself sound good. So I said, I have another 10 meetings lined up. Maybe I had like 4, but whatever. My goal is to get 10, 20. He said, great. And he's like, you already met some investors? You already pitched them? I said, yeah. Oh, okay, cool. How many did you meet? I said 4, whatever. Cool. He's like, this is all I want you to do. At the end of every meeting, whether they say yes, no, maybe so, take their email, put them on a MailChimp emailing list. And every Friday from now on, send out an update to all of these people on your emailing list, which are just investors that you met, about what just happened in your company in the last week. Even though you don't have a product yet, even though you don't have you haven't raised your money yet. You're doing enough things on a weekly basis, every startup is, where you can give an update, a pretty meaningful update. And he says, if you do this, like let's say you're just meeting one investor a week, at the end of the year, you will have 52 people on this, because all of them will give you their email if you just be nice and say, hey, I know you're going to consider my company, or maybe you don't consider it, but I'd love to keep you updated on my progress. Just give me your email. I'll add you to an email list. You're not going to get spammed. It'll only be one email. So everybody will say yes to you. And at the end of this 52 weeks, you'll have 52 people who could give you money that have received 52 updates if they started, at that time, about what's going on in your company. And he says, if you just do this, it's impossible. He said, it's impossible that you don't raise the money, because all the problem with investors is the timing. When you are asking them, when you are in your singular meeting with them, they may just not be ready to do it, or they may be in the middle of another investment, or they may be thinking about their wife. I don't know. It's just so. All you need to do is remind them every Friday, or every whatever, pick a day, about the progress, about all the great things that you're doing, and they will reach you back, because anyways, emails just respond. And of course, I didn't do it. So that's why I said it's such a sad story. I didn't do it, and nobody does it. And it was the single greatest advice I got about investment raising. And I will give that same advice to anybody. How many ever people you want to raise money from? And now with Garage, it's like on steroids, because you're not just emailing them, you're adding them to your office. They can see everything going on. And maybe they only get emailed once a week, or maybe you only send them a chat once a week, but they can now see, oh my God, there's 300 other people that are saying this problem is important. They're seeing that people are referring people. They're seeing that there's pitches and beta being made. You're proving to them that you have the ability to, what is a founder? Fundamentally, a founder is somebody that materializes money, customers, and labor. And you're doing that even before you take their money, and you're showing it to them. And you know what the hilarious part is? Most people do this, they just don't show it to the investors. Like me, I actually did that. I actually materialized money, customers, and labor, and I just showed nobody. And that is like, this is a default setting that you can now run. First, you onboard the people that care about the problem. And once you've onboarded them, now you onboard your investors. And of course, as soon as your product is ready, you're starting way ahead of this guy, because this guy built this product and then started building his network. You built your network, then got funded, then built your product, and you already have a couple hundred people here ready to hear your real pitch or buy whatever you want. So that is how we present this to pre-product companies. Now come to the objections. What are the objections? I don't have money to build my product. Great, this is 6,000 rupees. You don't need money to build your product. This is actually the best way you can get that money. Number two, I don't know anyone that wants to buy join my. Then you probably shouldn't build your product, because that means there's nobody that agrees that your problem is worth solving. So that also tells you, it also saves you a lot of time. It shows you that maybe your product, that your idea that you have is not so great. It saves so much time in terms of future customer acquisition, future affiliate acquisition, investor relations management. And yeah, this is how you pitch it to pre-product companies. Every goal of a pre-product company is to raise money. Anything they can do to raise money, they will do. And this is the biggest ROI thing that they can do that never goes down. So if I say to you as a founder, hey, give me 50K, I'll introduce you to investors. Some people say yes to that. You'd be shocked. I mean, I said yes to that. And so I'll give them 50K, they invest. And then, yeah, let's say I keep my word and I introduce them to an investor. The investor listens. Maybe he's a real investor and he listens. He still may not be ready to invest. This guy just lost 50K. That happens all the time with consultants. Here, you can't lose, meaning like every activity you do in your office is still going to benefit you. Even if the investor says no at the beginning, it still benefits you. It's a cumulative addition leading to your launch. I believe in the future, like we've gone to a world where if you're a startup and you don't have a website, that's like lunacy, because it's so easy to make a website and you need a website to articulate what you're trying to do. Our job at scale would be, maybe in 5 years, that if you're a startup and you don't have an office with garage, it's a lunacy, because it's so easy to create one, and it proves that your business is worth investing in or worth caring about. And why wouldn't you do it? Like, what is the downside for doing it? That you prove that your product is actually valuable. So that is how you sell this to a pre-product company. And the pre-product people are a little bit more desperate because they need investors. So they need to start this as soon as possible. They need to start this as ASAP. And it also just leads them into this, which is perfect. And one last thing is, a lot of times you're selling a vision, and the content of your product, people just don't understand it because it's complicated. Like if it's like something super like advanced AI or super advanced like blockchain or nuclear fusion or something that's just would be above most people's head. Well, now you can use Garage to educate people. You can launch courses. You can launch webinars. You can launch, you could put content in the feed. Sometimes to get people to understand your problem, you need to educate them. And that's another thing that Garage lets you do. So yeah, this is the vibe, and this is how you now onboard or pitch a pre-product company. Now we've covered all 4 archetypes. Remember, the first call was on the problem. Then we covered 4 calls for 4 archetypes. The next call will be on the close. And then we're done. So thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer them. If not, I will we'll see you tomorrow. Cool. I think we don't have questions. Anita, please send the recording.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.